Welcome to the next instalment of the Build Insights podcast from Cannes, MIPIM 2026. Earlier we were filming just alongside the water's edge with Richard O'Brien, CEO of Merlin Insurance Brokers, and James Callan, the MD of Approved Consultant Services Limited. I'm now joined by Dom Clarke, Head of Building Safety Compliance from ASC. Dom and I have worked on schemes together in the capacity of Fortis and Charter and ASC, but really I want to discuss with Dom today what brings him to Cannes and what he hopes to take away. Dom, thanks for joining me.
No problem.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
I know it's been a bit of a turbulent journey for you to get here, and we'll perhaps start with that actually. So tell us about your journey into France.
It started off pretty smooth, driving to the airport, then to face a near 2-hour delay stuck on the plane.
On the plane?
On the plane.
That's worse.
Because of a technical issue which, from a safety professional...
fills you with confidence.
Yeah, not great. But eventually got here and then couldn't find my Airbnb. So the start to MIPIM 2026 wasn't necessarily the greatest, but I'm pleased to be here and today's a fresh day.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Yeah.
And we're actually filming this from Le Roof, which is the event that is sponsored by Build Zone and ACS, which is a great event, and many people enjoy it. So hopefully you will too. I think it's your first time here.
First time. Yeah.
It won't be your last, I promise you.
We'll see how it ends.
No, it's going to be great. It's a fantastic opportunity to meet loads of people that you may or may not already know, but also in a great environment where people genuinely want to talk about things that matter to our industry. What sort of conversations are you interested in having today?
I think the main thing is about connecting with people who are in the wider real estate industry. So whether that is health and safety, building safety, fire safety, development, the legal side of it, it's about connecting the dots, because equally we all have a shared goal, which is to do the best for our clients. And for us particularly is to create safer environments.
Absolutely.
And I think it's about having those conversations off of Teams, in person, somewhere different, away from our comforts, and just seeing how we can sort of galvanize our priorities, create new efficiencies. And then obviously from the business side of things, there's obviously new opportunities. So there's a myriad of benefits to being here, and I'm excited to just have more conversations like this. I've already met some great people in the 12 hours I've been here.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the event tonight to meet some more great people.
MIPIM will do that for you. I think, look, we've got, I know a vast majority of the guests that are coming tonight, and I think you talked about development and building owners and legals. Well, we've definitely got those three boxes ticked. And I've had some incredibly insightful, no pun intended, conversations over the last 2 days with all of those types of people, and all coming from a slightly different perspective. So it's really interesting to get the context and try and gauge the understanding of what people think about what we do. And actually sometimes fill in the gaps. You know, a lot of people don't quite understand still what it all means and how it impacts the built environment. On that note, I mean, you've been doing this for a while now. How have you seen the last sort of few years develop in terms of building safety? Do you think it's going the right direction, or do you think we're still stuck in a rut?
I think it's still quite early in the game to know if it's going in the right direction. The good thing is that it's evolving. It's evolving somewhere, and I think when you have something such as building safety, which is generally a sub-industry of an existing industry, for it to become its own industry, you have to then change the culture. And a lot of, necessarily clients, but building owners, see it as a necessity, but not a priority. And I think it's about changing that mindset, having a conversation with other people in their team, like their solicitors, their property managers, which then obviously, in a sort of perfect circle, gets back to the regulator on actually what is actually needed for the people, what is needed for the industry and the residents.
It is. It's sort of, there's a level of resistance, and I don't mean that people are being negligent, but it costs money. Like, let's not skirt around the fact, you know, it costs money, but you do have to do it. And I think one of the biggest takeaways from conversations I've had over the last 24 hours or 48 hours is that people don't quite understand the impact of not doing it. And I think that's largely down to the fact that the regulator perhaps hasn't imposed one of its limitless fines or terms of imprisonment yet. And I'm glad to say that, because if they have, then it means something's gone badly wrong. But at the same time, I think it's important for legal bods, for building managers, for anyone that considers himself a PAP or an AP to really understand how important it is and the cost of not doing this right, because there's a huge opportunity there now to get ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I think one thing that I advise my or our clients about is to choose your headache. You have the headache of complying, or you have the headache of dealing with non-compliance. And essentially, we're not lawyers, or at least I'm not, but we're here to protect your interests. We're here to protect the interests of you as a legal entity, as a PAC, but also the interest of safety for for their clients.
Yeah.
And again, it's just about drumming that down to them, is that compliance isn't a choice.
No. Do it now while you can, and do it while you can and be in control, because if you're doing it in retrospect, certainly following an incident, then you lose a lot of that control.
Yeah.
And it's a really important subject. Well, look, the sun shines. We're about to open about 150 bottles of Moët. I'm sure you're keen to get involved, but I really appreciate you joining me here.
Anytime.
And let's enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good man.
Appreciate it.